All right, here we go. How you doing? I just cleaned out Morty. It took a lot. It was really filled up. And then I made a mess over here, so I had to clean that up before getting started over here. But we're good to go. So, how's everybody doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Mary, hey. Lawrence, how you doing? Been waiting to catch one of these lives? Hey, I appreciate it. Uh, we're going to be working on diamond painting pins today. So if you're here for like fountain pens or something like that, well, I mean, there's a lot to be learned when it comes to like spindle turning, but it won't be anything as far as drilling, measuring, stuff like that. It's just pretty much all spindle work today. We're going to be working on the this blank called April Showers. We'll switch over right quick. There we go. The blanks are called April Showers. And if you don't know, I'll give you a quick little rundown of basically how we get things set up. So Abby makes the blanks. She makes a different type of blank each week. We make about 40 to 45 blanks, and then that's what we do for the course of the week. I turn them into the various shapes. That's what the numbers are. I have a sheet that I've got all the different shapes that I make. Sometimes I'll deviate, but typically that's our standard shapes that we go for. But yeah, so diamond painting pens will be the primary focus today, and yeah, let's see. I guess a couple little things right quick. If you are interested in turning yourself, these are bushings called TBC bushings, or turn between centers. That's what TBC stands for. Brian Nikitas is a machinist, and he makes these stainless steel bushings. And before, I was using like thread finders with tape around it, but that would not hold the holes true. So I had to get them adjusted and found these. And then I met Brian when I went to one of the turning expos, and now he's a regular here in the stream, and yeah, hangs out, stuff like that. Let's see. Okay, I think that's all. I'm all juiced up, capped up, ready to. Oh, gotta change one more thing. Gotta get my device over here ready so I can see the chat. Because the way that my computer is set up, or my stream is set up, my computer's over here, and then I'm turning always over here. So it's, you can't go back and forth. But how's the sound, all that jazz? Okay, there we go. All right. How's the view? Is the view good? View good. Turn the heater off. It was brisk this morning. Let me make sure that that is in frame. Just back this. Make this a little higher. There we go. And then we'll drop this. There we go. So, okay. And then got my counterweight for the tripod here. All set. Good. Good. Let's see. Hey everyone. Pretty, thank you so much. question as you go along, do you need a 4-jaw chuck to turn down and drill a blank, or 3-jaw chuck? Either one. So what you'll find is if you do use a 4-jaw, you'll be able to to drill squares and rounds. But with a 3-jaw, you can only turn it if it's round. Otherwise, you'll just be turning it offset or drilling it offset. But a 3 or 4-jaw chuck will work fine. Most of the square blanks that I use, I'll actually round them first anyways, because it makes it so you can get them in a more centered position in the first place. So, yeah, I'll just round squares between centers like this, and then I will chuck them into the 3 or 4-jaw chuck. My metal lathe is a 3. My wood lathe one is a 2 or 4. You can use either one. It doesn't really matter. So, just as long as you understand how to use what it is that you've got, you know? That's the biggest thing. My lathe is a 1224. So from here, from the bottom to the center of the spindle, the spindle, the center of the spindle bore is just over 6 inches. So that's kind of like, you know, showing you like the reference of what things are and what you're looking at. And then from here to here, you know, you got about, as you're measuring. So the blanks that we turn are about 5 to 5.5 inches for the most part. Although we do have a variety of lengths, and then also we have some that are also thicker than others. Those just end up being our what we call mega, or just larges. Our large is about 6 inches, and it starts off thicker than the regular one. So this is a larger diameter, and this is a thinner diameter. So this is about, I think it's 3/4, and then the other one is so this one is 22 millimeters, or 0.88 inches, or 7/8. And this one is 3/4 of an inch, and 20 millimeters. So 20 millimeters and 22 millimeters is about where they start. Then they just get turned down to the different sizes and shapes that they're going to be. Dust all over me. Pivot that a little bit. Don't know how to drink. All right, 27. This is actually one of our asymmetrical ones. All right, if your volume is loud, it's going to probably end up getting a little bit louder. I'm turning on Morty. Jeez. Headphones going. But yeah, good question. That is a good question indeed. This is a great time to ask all the questions that you've got. And then, you know, by all means, if you see me doing something that's a little weird, you can ask why as well. So that's what it's for. The lives, that is. Okay. I turn pretty much exclusively with carbides, although I do have steel as well. I just don't usually use it because I'd be at the grinder sharpening it all the time. So that's one of the reasons why I use carbide primarily. You can just swap it easily. Alright. When you're working on a diamond painting pin and you're going for symmetry, I find that mark in the middle is always the best. Mark in the middle is always the best time, or best place to start. And to get better and better at marking, finding the middle, I would definitely suggest eyeballing it in the first place, or having reference points on your tool rest, or doing it freehand and then coming back with like a little measuring ruler and then kind of seeing where you're at. So I guess I'm an 1/8 of an inch off, but I haven't turned anything. That's just my reference points. So when you do it many times, you just get better and better at it. But if you always measure, then your eyeballing won't necessarily get better. So you have to do things that are, I guess, a little more challenging in the first place in order to be able to repeat it. Hey Mary, have you tried out your beading tools yet? And how are they going? Yeah, I mean, as far as the jaws too, I don't know if you're still there, but the jaws, what they do is really enable you to like grab the wood and hold it, and then expose the face. Like that's really all the jaws are able to are doing for us as at least pin makers, right? So you're able to hold something and then work on the front part or the back part. You can flip it around if you wanted. But that is, I consider that an essential when it's when you're getting started with lathe work and turning in general. I think that is probably one of the most important tools, like a lathe, turning tools, a set of drill bits. You can get specific drill bits for your needs, but if you get like a good variety of drill bits, I think the set that I got was like $45, and it has all the numbered bits, all the lettered bits, and it also has the like the standard fraction to 64ths, all the way up to a 1/2 inch, which you shouldn't really need much more than that if you do it for a small work. After that, you kind of get to like Forstner bits and stuff. So. Is that an ad? That was an ad, huh? It should not be on. If you're here in person, you should just be able to enjoy this uninterrupted, huh? Here we go. You're welcome. Alright, so you shouldn't see anywhere else. Let's see. Let's see. Oh Lord. Sorry about that. My thing was not keeping up with chat. I missed some stuff. That's awkward. The last thing I still saw was the draws. Alright, let me get caught up right quick. Too bad. Let's see. Squares are what you... Yeah. You know, there's some pretty cool things with squares. You can get a lot of different effects with square blanks that you can't with round. But... and also, all wood, pretty much, will start as a square. If you get the... you're doing pin blanks and stuff. Is it easy to swap to a 4-jaw? When you ask easy, what do you mean? Like everything's the same, it still threads into the headstock the same way, as long as your size is correct. Let's see. Yeah. But you'll need a completely different thing, a different chuck. Abby, will you pass me the 4-jaw chuck? Yeah. So this is a 4-jaw chuck. This is a Nova chuck. It's got the key, the T handle, and then it opens and closes. With the 4-jaw chuck, you also have an accessory box that comes with it. And you have a variety of different sizes and ranges that you can use. So it all works, you know, kind of whether you're doing bowls or pins or whatever. So these are the pin. And I turn bowls on this like tiny bowls. I'll use it as an expander because I put a mortise in it. You can see like the angle of these, and it's so it flares out, so it can kind of get a hook or a grab inside the mortise. Other ones grab tenons, so there's like a little see it? It's kind of like a little overhang part right here on the front. That is that's for a tenon. It's for grabbing a tenon on a bigger project. And then this one even goes to bigger than that, so it's more exaggerated. So you can see this flares out for the mortise, and then also it's got the other shape profile for the tenons. So if you buy it, it's kind of a buy once, cry once kind of thing. But I log a lot of use in this particular tool. So I'd say it's an essential for a lot of different turning, really, because you can do anything if you have jaws and a live center. And then a dead center is a pretty inexpensive thing to do or to get as well. Just make sure it's the potion. Make sure it's the appropriate taper for your spindle. Most things are going to be more taper too. But yeah, I'm pretty sure almost all MIDI lathes, most of those, if not all, are Morse taper too. Yeah. Let's see. Did you say the benefit to using self-centering in versus a pin mandrel? I might have to get you to rephrase that question. I'm not sure I understand it. Did you say the benefit to using the self-centering ends? Oh, like the bushings? Is that what you're talking about? Well, you can't use a pin mandrel, by the way. So this is a pin mandrel, right? It's got the 7mm shank or so, and then it's actually a pretty sure a 1/4 inch. They just call it 7mm. It depends on who you ask, I suppose, or what you end up buying or what brand. But this won't go through. If you use this, the diameter will be too big for the diamond painting pins, at least. Okay. They even did a free ring. Hey, the beading tools, nice, nice. A free ring. You were talking about a captive ring? I'm buffering. Uh-oh. Looks like my ping's good. I don't know why that would be the case. Let's see. You just want to use the jaw to turn down an end and flip it to drill the bore and put it on the mandrel. Yeah. I mean, I'd much rather do that than like a drill press. So getting a 4-jaw chuck, I think, would solve your problemos, or be a solution for all of your things, really. Let's see. Yeah, you even did a free ring. Oh, hey! Universal to swap, yeah. How much is that chuck kit? I'm just catching up because I didn't scroll for a while. I didn't move. Sorry. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that chuck kit was about it was only, I think it was like 130, 100 to 130 or something like that, maybe 150. But they're not that expensive, you know, relative to what you can use them for, because there are specific tools for like every little thing. So you can get like a vacuum chuck, which is just specialized equipment. This is more universal and all around. So it's kind of like one of those tools that is capable of a lot. How do you cut down your rods? I use a bandsaw. That's the other one of the like most important machines I would buy. So you have the lathe, you have a bandsaw, and then a vacuum is the next one, and then a dust collector is probably the order I would buy them in. So a lathe, probably a lathe, vacuum, bandsaw, and then if you did have some extra dinero, then getting a dust collector and having it wall mounted would be pretty useful too. That's what this is. So this has got attached to a hose that runs up the wall and then over to behind my table over there. Let's see. I am getting your messages, Mary. Let's see. Russia. What's up, dude? How you doing? Man, she's singing today. Alright, if it is singing, and making a lot of squealing like that, loosen it up a little bit. There you go. A captive ring, Mary. That's awesome. If you join the Discord, or you can send it to me on like other social medias as well, I'd like to see how it looks. I need to come up just a tad. But yeah, so I put it at the top of the chat, but I did I do have a link to my Maverick Workshop Discord. It's been it's been made for like 2 years, but it's one of those things that requires managing and stuff like that, so a little slow to actually share it. This is our flagship shape, by the way. I'm sure, as with most any other diamond painting pin maker, probably a flagship shape, standard 3 bump. But even though it is still a 3 bump, there's a lot of variation that you can incorporate to kind of make it your own kind of profile. As far as how steep this part is right here, you can make that like really dug in, or you can leave it super tapered where it's just really gradual. So that's just kind of one of the mods that you can do. What did you do the captive ring on, Mary? Because I did another captive ring actually on something else that, well, something a little different. But I did do a captive ring recently as well. But yeah, sometimes the blank will vibrate and that'll cause that screaming. And it could happen because the centers are pushed too tight, causing it to bow in the middle. Still, so you want to avoid doing that. Just makes it wonky. Gotta get some, we call them special shapes. You did a diamond painting thing. Cool. It's awesome. This is actually silicone. It's from the mold. Over time, man, the molds just start wearing out a little bit. Yes. So how is the, I don't know if you're, I don't remember if you were public with your biz name yet, but how's that going? I mean, I remember it, but I don't know if you went public with it yet. I want to steal your thunder, you know, Mary? But one of the best things that we did in the beginning was when we didn't have any traction, is we gave stuff away initially. So we had inventory, but then we gave stuff away. So step one, have inventory. Step two, you can give stuff away to people that well, like diamond painting pins, and then they tell their other friends about it, because the reality is nobody knows that you're making that, right? But you need to find the customer, and if you don't have the customer, then it's hard to have a business or people to make stuff for in general. Not public until mid-June? Right on. Well, I'd say start with one shape. Do that shape hundreds of times. Get really proficient at that one shape, and then, you know, once you get more and more comfortable, you get feedback from people that are using what it is that you've used, or you made, I mean. Yeah, probably the best way to go about it. A lot of people really like supporting small businesses, and you know, as a small business, it's important for you to kind of pay it forward too. Like I'll buy pins from other makers as well, because you know, if they're doing something that I can't or will never do, then it's probably something I'll buy. And it's not a race to get everything bought all at the same time, but you know, just showing support for fellow crafters. And I don't mean that in like mine and your relationship type of thing. I mean from like big picture type of thing. Because everybody's got their like little way that they do it. I got one order about having trouble turning zebra wood. Keeps catching. Huh. I was actually going to make my handle for my turning tool out of zebra wood. So it's possible that I'll get to that this week. I want to remake a handle. But if you're having catches, it's probably the angle of your tool. Did you see my most recent video? Um, it's like the angle of the tool and stuff like that. And also, what kind of tool are you using? Because maybe I have it as well, and then I can replicate it and try to see what's happening. But there's a lot of reasons why a tool could catch. For example, if it's carbide and you're going across like this, most people, or in my experience, I've seen people rather, when they come across here, they're still tilted up, but then the back end of the tool catches and it slaps it down so it chips out. So whatever part is doing the cutting needs to be supported. Like, yeah. What have you had most success with tool-wise thus far? Tried them all. Oh man. Well, that could also be the problem. Trying them all. But yeah, what's your favorite tool to use? And the one that you've had the most success with so far? Because we can just build on that one. What shape carbide? Round, square, diamond? Because I'll use square carbide pretty rarely. I don't use it very much. It's not because it's bad, it's just because I don't have as much rep or many repetitions on it. I could use it, but we got the diamond carbide, the square carbide, and the round carbide. What shape have you had the most success with? I'd imagine it's either one of these. but it can be very frustrating. So I definitely understand that. But I guess one of the best ways that you can kind of ease into the whole thing really is you'll take your tool and you'll have it right here, and so it's just hitting that bottom bevel here. It's just going to hit this bottom part. This is how you're going to start your cuts until you get more and more comfortable. So this is for you. You're going to just hit the bevel. You're going to come in steep enough, almost vertical. You're going to come in steep enough, and then you're going to start making contact. Lower it down until you start cutting, and then you start moving. And feel comfortable doing that. And holding the same way all the way across. So you don't need a lot of material in order to do this, but what you're going to do, come in steep, drop it down. Once the blade starts cutting, hold it, and that angle, move across. So do your best to hold it at that angle. Mine's vibrating a lot because it's off, it's out of round. But it doesn't matter. You're using the bevel as your guide. So when something, like when you're looking at this, it looks round, right? But you can see that there's like, you can see that it's offset. You can see like a little, like not shadow, but you can see that it's off. But because it's turning as fast as it is, it maintains that contact like circumferentially. So vertical, in, make contact, tilt, lift the backhand until it starts cutting, lock it in, and then go across. In, contact, lift it up, it's cutting, come across. Boom. And then once you get more and more comfortable, then you'll be able to do the tilting stuff that I have shown as well. But ultimately, in, contact, till you start cutting, and then go across. Nice and easy. When you get long ribbons, then you'll know that it's round, or you'll you'll just feel it for one. It won't be bouncing, like your tool won't be bouncing. So I know that's round because it's ribbons, consistent, constant ribbons. Now, when it comes to wood, it's a little bit different. However, I can get a piece of wood after this one. But yeah, I kind of made that video with you in mind, Mary. Yeah. You and I'm blanking on her name. Margarita. That's all I could remember off the top of my head. What is her name? Your friend. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. But yeah, I made that really for y'all. I got like a side profile view of the handle, and And then when you're doing coves like that, you'll start kind of high. You'll come in. It'll start going. So the motion is you'll start cutting. You'll go in, come across, and then back out. So you're tilted, making contact. Lift it till it starts cutting, and then you're going to go across and then lift the backhand a little bit, and then you drop it back down. So it's like you're introducing the blade and pulling it back out. You're like, here you go. But you can also do it like this, to where you're going to start cutting, and then you just have that as your pivot point, and then you swing the handle to the side, and then you go back to the other side. And you can also achieve that arch as long as you're maintaining its position in that middle part. That's how I began doing that, but I've adjusted the techniques as Rita, that's right. I don't know. I even said margarita. I didn't think. Thank you. I was drawing a blank on the name. But yeah, I think those little tidbits will help. When you're doing long, flat, you're moving your body. When you're doing fine work, you can move your hands, but using larger muscle groups makes it so you have more control over the tool. So like if I could just move back and forth my whole body, and in some cases that would be beneficial, but I guess at this point for me it's not, at least for this type of thing. Yeah, she watches them afterwards sometimes, and that's when I see her talk a little bit. But I guess too, with wood, you need to go down slopes, not up slopes. So that could also be a reason why you're catching. You can do it a little bit. I'll show you here in a minute. I'll get a wood blank. Oh man, I need to move the camera a little bit closer. Can't be seeing my dirty red beard in there. Down. There we go. Make sure that it's good. Is their log on name? I have to watch your video miss watching because you were outside picking up. Uh-oh. I hear you on that. It is getting to be that time where the grass is coming and you got to cut the grass more often and stuff like that. Let's see. I've got a small window of time here. That needs to be a little more less rounded, a little more pointed. And this is one of those things about relatively flat glitter, is it will kind of chip out, so you can try to get it out with a tool, or sanding everything at that spot down to the lowest point is probably what we'll end up doing. Because what happens is with the tool, if it catches and the glitter itself is kind of rigid, it'll just catch it and rip it out instead of slicing it. Let me get a wood blank here. Great if it was already drilled. I know they're around here somewhere. Ah, there we are. Okay, well, those aren't drilled yet. What? Really? No. I did a massive turning session on the wood, so that's why I'm having some trouble finding some of the ones that I've already done or drilled. All right, well, I guess we're just gonna have to drill one. Let's see, what one are we gonna do? You said leopard wood. Do I have? blanks of leopard that are pin size. I think so. Although I do have black palm. No. No, not you. There. I think I turned all the ones that I had drilled, unfortunately. Oh. Yeah. Well, dang. Oh. Oh. I've got a tiny little piece. We'll use this. Give me a sec. Let me drill the other side, though. This is cherry. Hey! Rafterita. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. I could not remember Crafterita. It's like, I can only remember Margarita. Why? Why is this evading me? Sorry. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Talked about some good stuff so far, so at least I think so. I think it's good stuff. Cherry also smells good. Cherry wood. Not sherry. I don't know. I don't know if sherry smells good or not. But it is good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I lost my bushing. Margarita. Oh man. That'd be good. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. So here we go. What we have is a small one here, right? It's a big block. And the way it was cut is kind of wavy because I was just trying to get it down to size. This was a 2-inch block, 2x2, and I chopped it into 1 inches. Definitely don't need as much as I had. But we'll do this, and I'll show you the angle. So make sure that your tool rest is far enough back So here we go. I'm not going to change the elevation of my tool rest because I will just change the angle of my tool on the backside. But I mean, this will be to like demonstrate that you don't actually have to go like straight in and start cutting it. This is more like you come in steep, and you can do this like all day. You're not actually cutting anything, but it's not that big of a deal, right? You're not doing anything, but you got to get comfortable with hitting the bevel. Like there's a bevel on everything. Like every turning tool has a bevel. This is the bevel for the skew, right? You have the bevel for the scoochy gouge. Both carbides have a bevel. So it's just on the bevel. You tilt it up till you start cutting, and then you go across. And then you tilt it a little bit more and go across again. A little bit more, go across again. Tilt it a little more, go across. And you do that basically until it's round. And you let the speed decide how fast you go left to right. Because if it's turning slower, it can still work. So we'll turn it way down. So like it's turning really, I don't know how fast it's turning. My readout doesn't read out anymore, but I'd estimate it's maybe 1,000 RPM right now. Same thing. In, make contact with the bevel, lift the backhand up, start cutting, go across when you lock it in. So we can stay here because we finished that cut, right? So we're not actually cutting anymore, but we're still in contact. Then you tilt it a little more, start cutting again, go across. So we're here, we're not cutting anymore, but we're still in contact. Lift it up a little more, go across. And then this is actually where, once you get comfortable with that, this is why I started doing the tilted method. The tilting method that I use is because I'm back here, right? So I'll come in, and this is, I do it, yeah, you can see. So this is the cutter edge. It's on the left now. But the bevel, I'm still thinking about the bevel. So I'm here, and all I'll do is lift it to the cutting edge, and then ride the bevel. So it's still not completely round. Now it is, but it wasn't. I just finished it up. And when you do that, you can get a pretty decent, like, smooth finish just by doing that. I'm also turning slow. Let's pump it up. So the same thing going the other way. I do suggest getting comfortable going left and right. It does get. I'm weaker on my left side. I'm pretty strong on my right side. But I go both, and it just takes repetitions and practice. But the same thing, again, make contact with the bevel. And the other thing too that you really need to think about is the cutting edge is pushing straight down. So I need my tool lined up with that. And then you end up with a pretty uniform round cylinder, right? But that's all you do. We'll come back to that here in just a moment. We've got to get some more. I'm going to turn these a little faster now. Basic lathe lessons. Well, I do now have a Discord in the description. That is basically a way to communicate. I can communicate there. And then also put little things that would be potentially helpful or useful and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, it is a play on margarita. All right. But that's essentially the basics. So you start with getting comfortable with that. You just come high and then you tilt down. You'll get traction, is what I call it. You'll get traction. But once you get comfortable with what you're turning, then you'll just kind of know where to go. And then if you don't, it'll chip out at you a little bit. And then you'll just kind of fine tune your backhand until it's back to how it's supposed to be. But same thing for beating tool. There is a bevel on it, right? You can come and you make that initial contact and you kind of get in the groove. But when you lift the handle up, you're actually cutting inward. So it's the same concept. Oh, that's weird. Let me get that. A little late for April Fools, don't you think? that. Invite the server. Copy. All right, that should be it. Hey, there we go. Now we're back. Thank you. That first mic has gotten a lot of use. A lot of hours spent on that mic. Might be nearing time for a new set. Yes. So I think this will be a better way to communicate than just me popping on stream randomly, because that's kind of what it is. If it's not obvious yet, Discord is a relatively new thing for me too. It's only brought to you to learn more and the other groups. Huh. That's weird. Why is it doing that? Like, isn't the invite to server? Edit invite link. Number of uses, no limit. No role selected. Member. Generate new link. Okay. So it should work. Sorry, y'all are the guinea pigs in this. Yeah, no kidding. We'll learn it together. Might as well make you an admin too while I'm at it. Send an invite. But I think this would also be a way for us to potentially voice and be able to do some like if you pop up on video kind of thing with your work right there, I might be able to look and see what it is that you're doing and help troubleshoot some problems too. It's kind of what I was thinking about, at least. At least that was the idea when I started it. But hopefully that worked for you, Mary. Is it Mary or Marianne? Do you go by Mary or Marianne? Is what I meant. Do you go by? Or which do you prefer? Oh man, we vibing now. Because I am on Discord pretty often, or I'm at my computer. Recently, I've been at my computer quite a bit. We should make this one asymmetrical, and then find asymmetrical one. Switch that one to 24. But yeah, during stream, I probably won't pay much attention to Discord unless there's like a specific item that I'm going to look at or something. So just, I guess, kind of setting the standard of that. I won't really look at it on stream. asymmetrical. Boom. And then boom. So interesting thing about this particular asymmetrical one, I first made it out of wood when I was when I was practicing with my skew, and I wanted to do like a long taper, and it turns out people were really digging it, so it became one of our standards that we put in the rotation. But yeah, it was first done on wood at a Purple Heart. Purple Heart was really inexpensive wood when I bought it by the lumber size. And then Marianne. Middle name is Ann also. So you're Marianne Ann? But yeah, I think this will be a way for us to more effectively communicate back and forth. Yeah, let me just a sec. Oh, sorry. I guess we're not firing on all cylinders today, huh? Oh, my bad. I don't know why. I guess I gotta do this with every individual one or something. I thought that link would just last, but it might. I might have set the group itself to invite only. Hopefully that link will work. And if it doesn't, I will need to look on the, I guess, the admin side of things. Abby's making lunch over there, so I don't bother her. But I'll get it ironed out. Worst case, Marianne, I have your email and I'll send it to you that way after I'm done with the stream. But I'll probably make a different announcement as well on like other socials. You think you got it done? Awesome. Woo. We got this. We got this. Things will get better. Right? They can't get much worse, can they? I'm a turner, not a social media I don't know. I think that it'll also be just a little bit more personal. Like I could do some of the stuff like on a TikTok or YouTube, but some of that stuff just like, I don't really want it in those places. So hopefully this will be a good one. Rita, did you find that video helpful? Even though I didn't talk? No issue. Not that you can message in the general tab. I think that is because I set it to where it needs approval. So I'll need to approve, like, you as a member, I think. Because where I have to post the thing in the first place, I don't want just anybody able to post anything. So that's not an accident. But yeah, I don't want random people that are able to get the link and just post things. So I'll go back, look, and make sure that you have acknowledged the rules or whatever, and then you should be able to do go to the different channels of it. But I'll let you know. There's not much there at the moment, so I've got to build it. It's in its infancy. But I have the areas, I think, that I would like for it to be. But yeah, see, that's kind of why I like the iPhone, by the way, is people are like, I go with the Samsung or whatever because you can customize it more. And I'm sitting there like, I don't think I want to customize more stuff. I just want it to work. So okay, all right. That would be satisfactory. I'm only human. Sounds like you know more about it than I do already. I got a message from someone that has a company that was interested in working with some of my videos and basically getting more exposure. And I don't know how I feel about that. I do it because it's fun, right? If it makes money, fine. If it doesn't, that's all right. Like as far as YouTube goes, I have not got a payout or anything, so I don't do it for money when it comes to that. This is just one of the few ways I know to like find like-minded people, and so that's why I do it. And then, you know, the reality is that I constantly have to remind myself is you only really need to be one step ahead of somebody else in order to offer value in what it is that they're trying to learn or know and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why I like the iPhone as well. It's just, you know, when you get a new phone, oh man, have you gotten a new phone recently too? You just like, you scan with your old phone to the new phone, it like reads all those pixels or something, and then it just migrates to it. Oh my goodness. That's convenient. But it's also, I think about it in other ways as well. Like, if it's that easy to do that, how easy is it to do other things? And that's just a rabbit hole I don't really enjoy going down, I suppose. Your iPhone is an older one. Time to upgrade. The only reason I upgrade is because it was cheaper. How crazy is that? The only reason I upgrade is because it costs us less money to do that. And they bought my other phone. So I think customer retention was their ultimate intention for that. So Abby got me a new phone. And what I actually don't like about getting a new phone is I use like a phone wallet kind of thing, and it's leather, so I have to break the leather in all over again. That's my least favorite part about it. But the camera is nice. Stuff like that, yeah. Weird. Oh. We got any movie goers here? Anybody a movie goer? I went to go see Project Hail Mary this past weekend. Took my wife and kids out on a little date. Went to dinner and a movie. We still go to some movies in theaters. Definitely not movies as long as Avatar, though. Goodness. But yeah, we went to go watch Project Hail Mary, and man, what a good one! What a good one! I read that book, Project Hail. Well, I listened to it while I was out here actually turning. But it's a good book too. But Ryan Gosling was the main actor in it, and he did a good job. Tend to wait for them to come on streaming. Yeah, that's what we usually do too, because they don't last very long in the movie theater. But this one, I think it was worth seeing in theater. But it's so expensive. It's like cost $100 pretty much to go out to a movie with your fam. So it's super expensive. Yeah, with Avatar, for example, I kind of lost interest in Avatar after, like, the movies are cool and all. The first one is still hard to beat. There's very few movies that actually get better with the next sequel of it. I don't think many movies are able to do that very well. But I'm not exactly a movie critic. I like a lot. I like a lot of. I watch a lot of horror movies. I like a lot of like cheesy movies. I'll watch like B-list, C-list movies. You've never seen Avatar? Oh man. Well, the first one's really good. That glitter popped right there. But yeah, the theme didn't really change. It's the same thing, kind of the same story. Any of the Conjuring movies? Oh man, Abby and I love those. We watched them all of them. Yeah, I don't think that there's many horror movies that I haven't seen really. Like I suppose some of the black and white ones. I didn't watch any of those. I have not seen the new Frankenstein though. I don't know if that one's considered a horror or a drama though. Heard they're making a new one. The Conjuring is a great series. There's a lot of them. I want to say that there's like 5 different ones, and then there's also, well, they're based off of real people too. Ed and Lorraine were real people. So she was like a intuitive or an empath or something like that. Oh, Annabelle's. Yeah, those are good too. Yes. Yes. See? How else would I have found you, Rita? Marianne? How else would I have found y'all? You know? So this is why it's free, you know? Finding people with same interests. How else do you do that? Just one sec, let me help Abby with that. Woo! I slipped. We got to get the blanks in the pot. But she doesn't crank it tight enough. Good. All right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's awesome. Yeah. Does she use vertical molds? Yes, she does. We do block as well sometimes, but we typically don't. We use primarily vertical molds. It's just, it's one of those things where you have to balance the amount that you can make in one go, the volume, the volume of material, the volume of blanks to be made at once, and then the work after the molds come out. The people that sell the square blanks, they have completely different setups for their pressure casting. They usually have a tier type of thing that they'll drop into the pressure pot. We have the vertical molds that basically just get put into the pressure pot. So it's an easier starting point, but you definitely can get different effects when you do squares. And I've got an example somewhere of the square versus round blanks, and then it just takes a couple extra steps at the beginning for the blank itself. But yeah, it's a way to do it slightly different. And there's also a very different technique, I'd say, that goes into it. Hey, Abby, you want to talk about molds right quick? Molds, vertical and flat. Molds. Do you want to talk about it for a sec? No? She wants to sand. She's the sanding queen over there. Yeah, that's why you bought vertical. Yeah, I hear you on that. I don't know where you got them from, but if you do happen to buy molds again in the future, P-Town Subby makes a lot of like the standard sizes. I think they're actually a little bit on the more expensive side. However, they've lasted us hundreds of blanks, hundreds of casts. So it's one of those things that is a consumable, and you can prolong the life of it with mold release, but really it is something that is a consumable. It just takes a lot longer. Kind of like carbide tips. And if you do have carbide tips that are this size, I think they're 12.5 millimeter. Here's a little you can buy them. They're 12 by 2.5. So the 2.5 is the thickness. So you can buy them in like packs of 10. I think this was, when I first started buying them, they were like $15. I think now that I now think that they are closer to 25 to 30. But still, for a pack of 10, and I'm not upset about it. I will go ahead and say that they are not as good out of the box as an Easy Wood Tool carbide insert. They do tend to be a little duller. However, I don't mind that. In fact, I used to intentionally dull them a little bit by turning squares square blanks before coming to turn the diamond painting pins. Because I don't like things that I don't like how sharp some of them are. And so I dull them a little bit on purpose. It makes them easier to, I guess it gives you a bigger margin of error, is I guess a way to say it. Oh, that's where you got your vertical mold. Hey, nice. He's been serving the pin community for quite some time. Oh, Fred. Yeah, he does a good job. What I personally like about those, because once Abby's done making the blanks, I then get them out once they're done and cured and stuff. I get them out, and it's so much easier to get them out of those molds than it is one of the other molds. Well, the other molds that we've been using, actually. But when you spend $700 on a set of molds for that, you know, you're going to get your money's worth out of them, even if it does not feel good sometimes. You have a hard enough time turning without adding a dull blade? Well, I mean, I guess I should probably rephrase it a little bit. It's just not as sharp. Like if I come here with a brand new sharp blade, it'll just like immediately like cut a big old ribbon. But I can kind of poke it with this duller one, and it won't just like sink right in. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'd have to show you, I think. But, you know, this one actually is getting a little bit too dull, so I'm going to end up rotating it or replacing it. I'll have to look and see where I'm at on this particular tip. You're not skilled like me? No. You don't have as much time. That's it. But, you know, hopefully I can take away some of that learning curve. You know, that's kind of what I'm hoping for, is to be able to flatten out that learning curve a bit, so people can just carry on and not have using the tool be their stopping point. But yeah, that's why I don't know. I get kind of mad when some people are so elitist about things, because I know that there's some people out there that swear by carbide, and they're like, you can't do this with carbide. And, well, I'll make a video showing you how you can. It just means that they can't, right? Just because they can't doesn't mean that you can, or just because they can't doesn't mean that you can't, right? It's possible. It's because they don't look at it the same way, because they spent years doing it the way that they're doing. And it's not bad, right? I don't think that they're bad or malicious or anything. It's just when people make statements like that, it just, I don't know, it bothers me a little bit. What it says to me is that you haven't practiced enough with it. But try telling that to someone that spent, you know, the last 15, 20 years turning with high-speed steel. Oh, man. You have someone coming? All right, all right. Take care, Marianne. Do you use the air hose? Yes, we do use the air hose to extract the blanks. But the first thing I'll do for the molds is I'll push on the bottom, like directly under it, and I'll pop the seal. And then they come out so much easier with the air compressor. You have the Eastwood carbides. Let me see. Do we use mold release? Yes. We use a mold release called Stoners. All right. Oh, I think I also have that set of carbide. But I also bought another set recently because they're completely rounded. Like the shaft is not square; it is round. Huh. They might be. Yeah, that's a fine enough set. If you like the handle, then I mean that's really all it is. The handle is different. Oh, okay. You got the easy wood. Yeah, I like the easy wood. I like the handle. Right, the handle is what really sold me on it. Because the carbide's kind of carbide. It just is a little bit sharper when you get it from the easy wood. They also have the negative rake, which I've never used, so I can't talk intelligently about it, or from experience, I guess. But what I do know is that at the rate I go through them, I'm definitely not loving this tiny little set screw. So that's one of the reasons why I'm working on a different handle too, because I need that set screw. You watched a lot of videos before you bought them? Yeah. Let's see. Well, just to show you, like, I could sharpen these, right? If you didn't know, you can sharpen carbide. You definitely don't want to breathe it, obviously. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to get like a diamond card, and then you get it wet with like a lapping fluid or just some kind of wet medium, right? Because you don't want dusty or anything. But these are all the ones that I've gone through. So these are all the ones that I've used so far. They're all the same. There's actually a couple more in there. This is another set I've used. That's another set I've used. And I don't know why I bought so many of these. I hardly use the small rounds. But kind of reminds me I need to get another set. This is the last of them. I've got 8 to go. Let's see if I even need to swap it. But yeah, the reason I keep them is because eventually I will go ahead and sand them. Or, yeah. They do have Easy Wood tool in there. There's an Easy Wood one right there. Gideon, how you doing? Are you turning so much when you wear them down, or do they wear faster with resin? Both. So I do turn a lot. So I make at least 45 pins a week, and I've been doing that for the last almost 6 years now. So if you wanted to math that, that's how many. And at the beginning, we were actually doing closer to 75 a week, which was not sustainable. Like, I could turn them, that wasn't the problem. It was the finishing part that got exhausting. So but yeah, you just pop it free, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, we're good. We'll be on the second side. So it's going to be a lot sharper. If you were paying attention to how it was cutting before, you'd probably notice a difference. So I didn't actually need this yet. So I still have a bit to go. Also, if you were wondering, you can see that these are different color. They're different plated. And I did not find them to be like drastically different as far as how long they lasted. Each side lasts me about 50 to 75 pins or so, somewhere around there. And then sometimes they don't actually last that long. They'll last maybe 15 or 20, and I'm like, it just doesn't feel right. So I'll rotate them. So it's not like an exact number every time. And then sometimes my tool will fall back, and then it'll chip, and that's also a time where I'll swap them. Alright, set. But yes, they do wear faster with resin. But compared to steel, they last, let's see, probably 20 to 25 times longer. If I had to estimate a number, I think the carbide will last quite a bit longer than steel. But when it comes to steel, I think that there's some advantages that it has when it comes to turning wood specifically. So ultimately, you pick what you want to turn with, and then understand that there's pros and cons that come with both. But yeah, I don't know if I want to go down that whole road when it comes to, having, I don't know. Because I like them both, right? I just like them for different purposes. I guess that's what it ends up being. How do you do something like that if you like them both? I like them both, but this is the best for this. This is what I use for that. So when I first started turning and I got the Easy Wood tool, I was blown away at how sharp it was. I'd never used carbide before at this point, but I was amazed at how sharp it was, because the only thing I'd used before was a roughing gout, and sharpening those is not easy if you haven't done it. And I have a little tool set up on my grinder that should make it easier which it does make it easier, but it's still, for whatever reason, it does not want to work right with me. So I got to keep practicing with getting my grind down. So that's, I would say that's a good reason to have inexpensive high-speed steel to start, because if you get like those cryo-treated, if you get the cryo-treated steel, it lasts significantly longer. The edge does, but it's really expensive, and it's like you're reluctant to sharpen it because it's grinding down the material more and more every time, and you're like, oh man. And so if you mess up, like you cut a flat spot in it and then you got to grind it back, then you're losing like a couple more mil on the overall length of it. Then you just end up with a little stubby handle. Little piece of anyway, I would say that it's best to start with inexpensive stuff, and that serves multiple purposes, by the way. You're getting more practice when it comes to grinding and getting the shape profile that you want, also because it's not as long-lasting of an edge steel. You have to repeat that process over and over and over again. So I think it's beneficial to suffer through that part, honestly, and instead of buying really expensive stuff, because you want to buy the expensive stuff when you know that you're going to be able to grind it perfectly like every time. Obviously, mistakes will still happen every once in a while, but you want to have a lot of practice on it before you start grinding expensive metal. Well, at least I do, because I don't like spending money on that. But the other thing that I was thinking about why I hung my hat kind of on carbide is because it's the same every time, right? It's like the sharpness, there'll be slight deviations with the sharpness, but the profile will never change, right? Because there will always be this 12 millimeter disc that's 2.5 millimeters thick at a 30-degree angle. It's just not going to change because that's how they're made. And it's easier to get repetitions with things like that when it's constant, because you don't want variables. When you're practicing and learning something, you want as few variables as possible. And that's probably why some people get so frustrated, because when you're first starting, you're like, oh man, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. None of the wood turns the same. And that's kind of the other thing about resin too, is it does turn the same pretty much. You can feel slight differences, for example, in glitter. I can also feel the difference when there is a different type of resin. I can feel the difference when there's a soft spot. For example, if it's heavily pigmented with a wet pigment, like a liquid pigment, instead of just mica, I can feel the difference on how it turns. This one, because it's mostly translucent with a little bit of blue dye in it, it turns pretty normal. The only extra I feel when I'm turning is the glitter that will sometimes pop out or catch or something a little bit differently. And yeah, let's see, what did I miss? So you don't use negative rate carbides. I do not. You don't notice a big difference. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, the negative rake, from my understanding of a negative rake, is it's just more, I guess, forgiving, is what I've heard people say. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I've never used one. I thought about buying it just for the sake of having that experience, but haven't done it yet. Let's see. How long do my bushings last? My bushings last pretty much forever. Abby's bushings, on the other hand, don't. Hers last probably 200 pins or so, maybe 300 pins. And the reason is because she sands off the edge a little bit, and then when you're hitting it with 8 different grits of sandpaper, and you're doing that on every single pin, over time they get worn. We have our whole set of worn bushings. I never got rid of them. Those are on the, okay, here's our worn set. I have them in my other thing. So I'll show you the difference between one that I used, right? You've seen the one that I used. Just like that, right? Flat, nice. And here's one that Abby's used. So you can see that this edge right here gets really sharp and it curves down. So over time, from sanding, it just kind of wears. So they last a really long time. Also, especially if you're not sanding them. So you can make a conscious effort to not sand them, but when you're sanding at the volume Abby is, it just becomes one of those things that you're like, it's not that big of a deal to, it's less of a deal to just replace it when that happens than it is to consciously think about not hitting them all the time. So it's a trade-off, right? You have to determine what's most important to you, and her being able to sand it the way she does and then spend like $18 or so for a set is not that big of a deal to big picture wise, I guess. It's not a make or break sort of thing at that point. Sorry, let me go back. What lathe tools do I recommend? For high-speed steel or for carbide? With carbide, I'd say go for the handle that you like best, or make your own, because that's actually what I'm doing with my other carbide set. I bought a set of carbides that I'm just wanted the I wanted the metal post part, and I'm gonna make handles for them. And then, if you wanted something that's nice right out of the box, I mean, Easy Wood tools, I like. I like that they're color coded too, which is kind of silly, but I like that red is round, orange is square, and yellow is diamond. But if you can't really go wrong with a carbide, honestly, as far as like which one you buy, because the tips are pretty much all going to be sourced by the same ish same company. So if you get a lower end carbide handle, then you're going to get probably the cutters that I have here. Easy Wood Tools doesn't use these. They have their own, but these fit on the Easy Wood tool. So that's why I still use those. Let's see, what else did I miss? Buy some cheap raw stock for practice. Gideon, are you talking about materials, or are you talking about turning tools? Because I mean, I suppose both could be fitting for what you said. Which is easier to turn, wood or resin? Which is easier to turn? Well, I'm going to say resin because I've got like 10,000 more repetitions of making pins on them. But I think wood is quite satisfying to turn. I think they're both pretty easy when you understand certain like rules, right? Like what I just did right there actually. So I can't just get a piece of wood and then go back and forth like this and it end up as a smooth surface on wood. That won't work. So I think that there's just like specific things that are trade-offs. Again, I know it's like a non-answer, huh? But I think resin's probably easier to turn because it's constant. You don't really, like I was saying, as far as what it feels like and everything, it doesn't really change that much. But if you only turned like Purple Heart, for example, you know, Purple Heart might be your recommendation at that point. Because so turning a Lumalite is pretty easy. There are other types of materials that are resins Alright. It's telling me you're done streaming, dude.
That's crazy.
These used to last me forever. What is going on? Alright, let's see. Juice it back up. Anyway, I was saying Brian's a good dude because of how he treats the people that he works for, right? When he serves like the pin community, the pin maker community specifically, and I think that that's quite, it's important, right? So right. Stop saying that, John. All right, here we go. Negative rake is less trauma at the wood, acrylic border. Yeah, I don't have anything to say about that one. I don't know. For grinding turning tools, I think Benjamin Best or Robert Sorby would probably be your best bet when it comes to steel. Unless you can find some like secondhand stuff. But if you were going to buy brand new, I'd go with like a Robert Sorby or their lower end stuff, or Benjamin's Best, because it's like not bottom of the barrel, but it's certainly not top tier. It's like a few echelons down from top tier and a couple up from the bottom. So I'd say it's a little bit on the low side of average. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's probably the best place. I've got a set of Benjamin Best. Yeah. I even, tried out different profiles on this. I rounded it because it used to be like perfectly perpendicular. You can see it right there. Like it was square, but I rounded it. Some people probably would be like, why did you do that? Well, because that's my preference. But yeah, most everything that I turn, you could do with probably one. Probably use just one roughing gouge and do most of what I do. So I think the only real reason you would do that is to get exposure to all the different types. Well, not all. You'll get probably a skew or two. You'll get a bowl gouge. You'll get a spindle gouge. And you'll get a parting tool. I think that's the 5 that comes with them. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good entry-level set. That's not garbage, but it's also not. It's definitely not top of the line either. So I think it's that happy medium that would fit the bill of grinding enough, but also having enough edge to turn for a decent amount of time. And that's what I went with in the first place as well. I went with Benjamin Best. Have used Benjamin Best tools for 15 years? Heck yeah. That's awesome. And I think that they're fine tools. They just, there are better, right? I think that there are just better materials that are used.
in some cases, but at the end of the day, it's how long is it going to hold the edge, and that's really all you're changing for the high-speed steel. And say that you get like, I don't know, we'll just use nice round numbers. So let's say that you're able to turn 5 pins with 1 sharpening. Like, you got a Benjamin Best, you freshly sharpened it, now you can turn 5 pins. If you're not turning more than 5 pins, does it really matter? You just come back out, the next day you're going to turn, sharpen it back up, turn your next 5. So thinking about it like that too, it's like you have to determine what's right for you, not what the best is or what the, you know what I mean? But if you want to turn all day and minimize the amount of times you go to the grinding wheel, then maybe it would be more beneficial to get one of those steels that hold its edge longer. But when I say it's going to hold it longer, it's probably you're going to be able to turn 7 to 10. So it's not like astronomically different. It's marginally better. Because there's a reason Benjamin Best is still around. You know what I mean? There are people that are like, what's the best? And, you know, I'm one of those people too. I want to know the best because I want to know, like, what the standard, like the top standard, and then where I'm sacrificing. So I do like knowing the best, whether or not that's my goal to get it. I mean, it's also like lathes. I would like to have a robust lathe at some point, but do I need one? No. But on the other hand, I definitely would not go, and if you have one, I apologize, but it's not for me. I cannot go to a Central Machinery. Harbor Freight, no thank you. I'm glad that you have single-use tools, but I will not be interested in those lathes. But can you do everything with it? Absolutely. So it serves a different audience, you know. And that's, I think, what's really important to keep in mind is who. And if it's just you, are you happy with it? Like, that's what it boils down to. But I think that there's another thing where people don't want to buy the wrong thing, and you know, that was me too. I didn't want to buy the wrong thing. Like if I had, well, I actually did. This is a Morse Paper 3 dead center. My metal lathe is, its through hole is a Morse Paper 3, but I have to take the jaws off in order to actually use this, and I pretty much never want to do that. So I thought it would fit inside, and then just have it sticking with the jaws maybe back here. That was not the case. So sometimes you just buy stuff that Oh, for comparison, by the way, this is a more safer 2, and this is a more safer 3. And it's talking about the taper itself. But you can also see the diameter. It is significantly larger. But yeah, it's just the cost of learning sometimes. Like I have steel tools, and I pretty much never use them. And so, I guess with that too, I've actually ground them in different ways that I would think maybe that would be a good way to try that out. So I ground it, and I didn't feel bad about it because I wasn't going to use it for anything else. But on the other hand, you could give it away. You could sell it. You could Facebook Marketplace it. You could do all kinds of stuff. So yeah, Bone Crusher's probably looking at me with a carbide like I don't know if I could use carbide like that because you spent as long as you have using high-speed steel. But I never had the steel foundation, so I pretty much used carbide from the beginning. So you use what you're comfortable with. And I guess my main message that I want to have is it doesn't matter. Just turn. Turn with whatever makes you happy and successful. But, you know, from a social media point of view, agreeableness is not as exciting as conflict. So that's why I hate social media. How many headlines do you see good news? You know, it's just you're not as curious, I suppose, about the good stuff. Which is unfortunate. But I mean, I'm kind of guilty of it too. So I can't blame anybody. But that's also why I don't really spend a lot of time on social media. So I don't want to watch these train wrecks happen. Use your carbide for roughing, use your skew for finishing. Right on.
What was that?
Needs to come out. Be a nice deep one here. Oh. That's a pigment pocket. Now this one's going to take me like 3 times as long. I gotta get everything else to match back up. Goodness. Get out, man. Well, it's out. And that's also actually why I've been practicing with the screw, is because I don't want people to just think that I only know how to turn with carbide. And you can't just say it, right? You've got to embody it. At least that's what I think. Goodness. Come on. Didn't take that long to get to where I needed. Now, the funny thing with this is if I've only had this happen once, but it got really thin in one spot, and what happened was, okay, we got it. But this side was turning, and then I was actually cutting this side to make it match. And then what ended up happening is this, because this is the actual rotating side, and then when you're introducing the tool on the other side, it causes like a slight delay, right? Because you're hitting the brakes on one side, and this one's rotating full speed, and it just basically cracked it. It twisted it, and it boop, popped out. So if you didn't know, that is something that can also happen. So you just got to be mindful of how much you're taking out at once. And that happened on a, what did that happen on? It was a stabilized wood, actually. It does not like any sort of torsion, rotational torque or anything like that. It's also why I start in the middle, by the way, because the, well, at least for these, right? On some things you want to start on the farthest away and then move closer to the most solid point. But because it likes to vibrate mostly in the middle. I want to keep the outside as strong as possible. Yeah, I want to keep the outside as strong as possible until we need to shape it. And it only really matters for things that don't have a hole all the way through with internal support. Well, when it comes to pins at least. But the outsides have a little bit more rigidity because they're the closest to where the bushing is inside. So it gives it more structural support internally. But again, that's like optimally kind of thing. You can do it the other way. Just need to make those a little smaller. Now there is also a way to kind of remedy that too, and it's by more thinking about your bevel being on the surface of your cutting. So I want to make sure that my bevel is in contact and give it a little bit of pressure. That way it holds it in place a little better. Because if you just go straight in, it's going to kind of dance around sometimes. So you can do light cuts like that, or give it a little bit more pressure and do that. But be mindful that it can heat up as well. And with it being thinner, you don't want a whole lot of heat, because that'll make it softer too. Hey Johnny, how you doing? Woo! That one got skinny. This one needs a little bit more belly. How you doing, man? It's been a little bit. What you been up to? Go. So something else that I could have done instead, if I knew that it was going to go that far, is I could have just broken the thing in half, or cut it in half, and then drilled holes in the other sides. Made 2 small ones. That would have been another option. And for the record, if y'all are feeling bad about Abby sanding everything, don't, because she's faster at sanding than I am at turning the larges. It's about equal when it comes to turning the regulars, and I'm slightly faster when it comes to the minis. So, just for a little reference of how fast she is. Work, maybe a pin or two. I hear you. That's good. What kind of pins do you like making? Or what pins have you made, I suppose? You're so fast. She likes compliments too, you know. You gotta compliment her every once in a while. She doesn't watch the stream, so. There was a little pigment pocket. The what? I don't know if you can see, but there's like a glare right there. And what that tells me is that it's not completely round yet. And it's coming from the light, and it's reflecting that line. So I can come back here, and then now it's gone right here, but not here. So you can look, see, this is perfectly smooth now, and then this is what's reflecting the glare. So when it's close like that, that's how you can tell in some cases. Now there's no glare over here. So I think the other side of my carbide, since I've rotated it, is actually not as sharp as the other side was. So I'm going to need to rotate it again, or actually replace it. But because of the range that I use on them too, like mine goes like, I use all the way down to here and here, so I use a lot of it at once. this. You making kits, John? Johnny? Come on, man. Get out of there. Okay. This is actually a pretty decent time. So we can see that these little flags right here, these glitters right here, you can kind of see that they're raised. Kind of see that they're raised. So it was like this. I'm going to rotate it. So it was spinning this way. Let me draw on it. It's rotating this way, right? It's spinning. Now, when I rotate it like this, now it's rotating the opposite way. And the reason that's going to be valuable here is because those little flags, the reason they're still there is because they're smoothing out before they actually cut. And this way, it'll cause it to basically cut because it's going the opposite direction. Or it'll just rip it out and create a little chip. We'll see which one happens. I was asking what kind of kits you were working on. Or are you making kitless? Or diamond painting pins or what? Which, you know, diamond painting pins are also no kit. But getting there. Almost. Come on. There. There we go. And that worked. Ooh, purple heart. Nice. I like purple heart. I saw a video that was ranking some of the woods, but it was from the perspective of cabinet making, and he didn't like the wood. Purple heart fell at the bottom of the list. That's all right. I like turning purple heart. It's also pretty inexpensive and it looks really nice. And it will over time get darker. Which is pretty neat too. But when you get a brand new one, you'll see that it's brand new. Or like freshly cut, I guess. Because of how bright it is. Now, the thing I was showing with the flag as well, by the way, that little part that was sticking out, that can also be relevant for sanding. And I know people sand, they're like, we got to sand in reverse. Well, if you don't have a reverse and you're making these, that's a way to rotate it the other direction. So, it's a little gee whiz kind of thing that can be useful for you. Put it in the sun to get its color back. I hear ya. I think another important thing to point out with the flag is that when you use for like the SKU, for example, you're less likely to get those because of the bevel contact as well. So you'll have that bevel contact and it'll kind of shear it off, and that could be a pro, I suppose, for steel, because it's laying flat and it's rotating, you're cutting, and it won't have anywhere to really go. So if it tries to flip backwards, I don't think it can. But I don't turn resin with steel. Yeah, I'll go to Woodcraft sometimes, or Rockler. Not so much Rockler anymore, but Woodcraft I'll go sometimes because it's a lot closer. And if they have sales on wood, like good nice wood, and it's not all messed up, I'll grab a little lumber. You get nice pieces. So zebra wood. Well, I bought a whole piece of lumber. So it was $40. Got it for $20, and it's 3/4 by 3 inches by 36. And so if I did, I don't know, if I did it by 35, I can get 7 times 3. So 7 times 3, 21. I can get 21 pin blanks out of this, right? But you have to have the means to cut it too. So that is one of those things to consider if you were doing something like that. So if you think about it, 21 blanks, even if I sold a pin for $20, that bought my board, right? If you sold a pin for $20, we'll say $25 to cover the cost of the kit, that's more than I paid for the whole board. So cost-wise, if you have the means to process it into blanks, that's a good way to go about it. Oh, I was going to change this. you probably can't see it, but there are lines. There's lines on the carbide itself that you can kind of catch when it's shining. I use that as my reference. Alright, we'll see if this one is, how sharp this one is. It feels sharper, but you'll be able to see it like cut ribbons. Yeah, it's a lot sharper. I always ease into it as well after swapping the tool or the cutter, so I can get a feel for how much pressure I can put on. Before I just go right in how I was before. So it does take me a little longer to adapt back to it, kind of retrain the muscle memory aspect of what I was doing compared to what I'm doing now. But hey Johnny, where can we see your pins, man? Do you post them anywhere? YouTube, Instagram. Dang, man! I've been living under a rock. I don't watch. The stuff I watch on YouTube is not turning. But as I get more people that are YouTubers as well that are turners, should probably put more effort into that. I'm the type of person that when I start doing something, I have to do it optimally and with all the latest and greatest tech and stuff. So it doesn't really matter what it is. If it's something that I'm interested, I want to do it to the very best I possibly can and am aware of. So that being said, I play video games. And there's a new expansion that came out. So I've been pretty immersed in keeping up with the news on the game itself. But if you are on YouTube, that is a ding on me, man. I should have known. What's your YouTube channel? I don't pay much attention to Instagram. In fact, I probably spend more time on TikTok than I do on Instagram, which again is probably in the vicinity of 10 minutes a day. Unless I'm making a video or a reel, then I'll probably spend 20 minutes on it. Usually do a live turning and then post short. Oh man, you got the code cracked. That's impressive. I don't have that work ethic. Like what I should be doing versus what I actually do. My channel could be probably bigger if I had to guess, if I did all those things, which, man, I don't know. Okay, so that is your channel. Let me get that right quick. Johnny. There we go. See you. All right, I got you now. Got you. Dang, look at you. 2.3. Heck yeah. It's awesome. I'll take a look at it later on. But I got it now. That's all right. That's all right, man. I'm at work too. There's a lot of stuff I don't hear. I hear music in myself. I thought about having a Spotify link for people that join the stream to come and listen to. That way you can hear what I'm listening to. But hello, how you doing? Welcome. Craft with Heather B. What kind of crafts do you do, Heather B? I'm doing pretty good myself. Thank you for asking. No. Not a smooth cut. It's alright, nobody will know. A little bit of everything. Wind chimes, wall hanging, wreath. Oh, cool. Do you crochet? What kind of wreaths or wall hangings do you do? I've seen a lot of people do like little crochet over the window, like basket types of things where they it holds like air plants or other plants that are really small, little succulents and stuff. And is this your YouTube channel as well? The name that you're talking from? You buy stuff at Dollar Tree? Right on. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You try to get, try to make them nice. That's what it is. That's what it is. I think that's what some people also really appreciate about art, is that it's something that's super relatable that they see, and then it's just reimagined or done again in a way that they didn't think of doing it. And I think that is a fantastic level of creativity. And I think that there would be no real reason to push beyond that, although you could. Sweet. It is your channel name. Cool. What type of stuff do you do on your YouTube channel? All my stuff is like pens, for the most part. My lives, as of late, have been predominantly diamond painting pens, although I do make fountain pens as well. But in order for me to have the playtime, we got to get through the other stuff first. big deal. Put a little honeycomb action in it. And this is a diamond painting thing, by the way. It will be. The surface that you can also get with sharper tools is obviously nicer. But yeah. Either way, it's going to get sanded and polished, and that's going to be its next step. But yeah, I haven't seen you around here before. And hanging out and chatting and stuff. It's good to see new faces. Not that, you know, Johnny's face is bad or James is bad. It's fun. It's fun. I don't know if Hillbilly's still out there. I'm new. Hey, right on. Welcome. That's my default when I make mistakes. I'm new. But yes, all my stuff is turning. Oh man, that's cool. It's 2 subs away from 200 for your next giveaway. Oh, very nice, very nice. I don't know how I got to 1,500 subs in the first place, but you know, it just happens over time. Literally just got your first lathe? What? That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations. That is a big step towards turning. Like it just arrived at your door kind of thing. Just dragged into your garage and powered it on. Hey, it turned on. It's a step in the right direction. Don't do what I did when I first got my lathe. Let me show you this. If there's a faceplate right here covering the spindle, it's got grub sprues. don't try to undo it without loosening up those grub screws. That's what I did. The very first day I opened the lathe up, got it all set up, and I'm like, chewed it up. I have to look at it all the time now. But that's really cool. Now, if you follow the same track I did, I don't suggest it. But if you do, the next, well, I gave myself like a day to set the stuff up and get the workshop organized and prepared and everything for it. But once I started practicing turning, I was out in the workshop for a good 15 hours a day for months, just doing all kinds of projects. Anything that seemed interesting to me at the time, I would just do it, because that's really the only way for you to learn, the most effective way to learn. Make mistakes, learn from them, because if you don't learn from them, this applies to more things than just turning, by the way. If you don't learn from the mistakes, you will be presented with that again at some point. Kind of funny. Ah, you run a 3D print farm? Right on. Shoot. Maybe I should get in contact with you. I have a printer. One. But that's awesome. Yeah, I suppose it does go hand in hand. Do you use what is it? Sorry. Do you use resin or do you use filament, or do you use both? For the printers, that is. Let's see. What do I need? Would you like? Oh, okay. Interesting. What's the name for your whatnot? I don't think I have whatnot. I don't know if I've ever been on whatnot. What is that? Is that like a Twitch or a Kick or something along those lines? 99% filament. Gotcha. I took a picture of it so I can look at that later. Okay. Gotcha. I've got some other people that come hang out in the stream here as well that are like CAD designers, and yeah. So yeah, these areas can certainly complement each other. As far as what I need, I'd probably defer that to my wife, who would use that part. But I'll see what, if anything, at the moment. But yeah, I'm sure. I've also got ideas that are written down in my notebooks that I thought about 3D printing, but I don't know how to design them, so those ideas kind of fizzled out. But maybe they should be rekindled. That sounds good. Sounds good, man. I mean, a couple things immediately come to mind is like your MOQs, and then filament types. Like, are you limited by filaments? I know that there's some that don't cooperate well in printers. $31. Wow. You charge, but that would make sense. You charge them more for glow, and you try to stay away from carbon fiber. I don't blame you on that. In a lot of stages, carbon fibers, like, you want to avoid it. Like cutting it, no thank you. You need to be like respiratored up, and so I don't know what it's like printing it or printing with it, but pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Do you have a website already, or is everything that you do live? Do that.
over here that I guess you can kind of see it. So this was one that I turned with the other carbide that was duller, and then this is the sharper one. You can see that it's just a cleaner surface. They're both smooth, but you can get a cleaner cut with the other, with the fresher carbides. Today, got some peeps. I got some work to do. Got some other work to do now. I go check out some channels, check out some other stuff. What are you rattling for? Oh. Let's see. Yeah, oh, let me switch. Lawrence, you're back just in time for me to say farewell. Oh, dusty. Oops, that's right. Let's see. Yeah, so I appreciate you hanging out and chatting. It was a good one. Yeah, it was a good stream. I had a good time. The blanks that I was turning were called April Rain, April Storms. What were they called? Oh geez. April Showers. There we go. There are April Showers. Pretty cool. But yeah, made good progress. We chatted a lot. Some pretty cool people stopped by. Mary, Lawrence, Johnny. Let's see. Got Bone Crusher. Yeah, lots of cool people. So I appreciate you all stopping by and hanging out. Yeah. I do have a Discord channel. I'm gonna have to work on the actual part where the link is working effectively every time. So I need to look into that. But I do have a Discord channel. Keep an eye out for that. And it's pretty much entirely pin related and turning related stuff. So if that's something that's interesting to you, then maybe it would be a good community to be a part of. Yeah, I reckon that's about it for today. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye. Abby says bye as well.